Hello and welcome to Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. In this program, we take the questions that you send us via email. Father Gruner answers them. We have discussions about them. And please continue to send us these questions at questions@thefatimacenter.com. This question today is it a mortal sin to play violent video games?
Well, I guess I've never played a violent video game or even seen one, so it's hard to, I suppose, answer that question from my knowledge. Perhaps you can fill me in a little bit, but I would say in general, first of all, that these violent video games would desensitize someone to, I know people that, can't even look at somebody with a cut on their finger. It's part of your life. I mean, it's obviously a little bit of blood. It's not going to, but if somebody's in a very beginning stages of dying, if that wound doesn't heal up, and what happens is that some people playing these games after a while, they say, oh well, it's just another body. It's just, we only blew off his head. I mean, you look at the poor man Tillman, who was, killed in action, not killed in action, but killed in Afghanistan. The description of it, when you watch, the video, the documentation, or the people who watch, rather, his head was blown away completely by bullets that they could not find his head. That means they're using guns. He's killed by so-called friendly fire. His own soldiers killed him. His own American soldiers killed him by blowing away his head completely. That means about by 10,000 rounds of bullets. They couldn't find his head. Mm-hmm. But how can people be so inhumane? They've been totally desensitized to what it is to even put a bullet, I don't know, through my thigh or something. Not hitting anything of very important. I mean, it's still important, but you can, the bullet goes through, you take it out, you patch it up, and in a month or 3 months, you're back to normal or something like that. Blowing away a person's head with 10,000 rounds of bullets from 3 guys shooting at him, or whatever the number was, it's all in the documentation. I've seen it on this movie. I wouldn't recommend the movie because of the language, but it's amazing. But how anyone, human, but this is their own soldiers doing this to one man. It's amazing. But they've been totally desensitized.
Yeah, I think that's part, the question says, is it a mortal sin? And perhaps that's not really the right way to look at it, because, we have to look at what our nature is as humans. And do we really want to spend our time pretending that we're gunning people down? Yeah. And these, of course, as I think the video games now, the graphics and the animation is so sophisticated. In fact, Christopher Golly wrote an article about this in Catholic Family News. I can't remember the name of the video game, but the video game has completely mimicked to give you an accurate picture of what a human body looks like when it's shot down. The way it crumples, the way it falls, and that's all worked out, by the various angles of shooting. And so is this just a healthy way for a human being to spend their time?
Well, the other thing is, we are who we think we are. I mean, in other words, if I continue to focus on killing somebody, then, and then you get these people, I mean, that's what fills their mind. So it fills their mind, and so they after a while, they eat it, sleep it, drink it, dream it, whatever else. It becomes their life.
Well, so, and along the same lines is images that we allow into our imagination. Yes. They are there permanently. Yes. That's why we have to be careful of what we allow ourselves to look at. Yeah. Because it burns an image into your mind, and these are the images that come to us in the middle of the night, of when we're sleeping, when we're trying to pray the rosary at Mass, when we're driving. These images pop up. Yeah. And so do we really want to fill our head with these violent images of us shooting people down? Or, I understand some of them are quite bloody and things like this. This is really a degradation of humanity. And we could even talk about, maybe we should talk about this in a separate program, but the whole business of video games in general.
Well, the other question would certainly be that, certainly recreation. I don't know how this would be recreation, but everything has to be done. God made food, which is good, and we should enjoy the food. There's nothing wrong with that. But we can't be eating all the food we want because it tastes good and stuff ourselves and get sick and all the rest of it. I mean, it's not wrong to drink wine or even drink hard liquor, but we can't be drinking so much of it that we lose our mind, that we become irresponsible. So same thing, we can't be filling our mind or taking 10 hours a day or whatever of these, even if it wasn't violent. Now, much worse, the stuff is violent, and therefore it's filling our minds with these terrible images, and we be desensitized. So we think it's not so bad to go around and kill somebody. Oh, we don't agree with you, bang, you're dead. You know, except they're doing it in imagination. Next tomorrow, they might be doing it in real life, and they are guilty for killing somebody. And so if this is an occasional sin, then this now, just exactly at what point this becomes mortal sin, it's hard for me.
And in a certain sense, it doesn't matter, really. We have to question whether it is an act, a legitimate act of any human being to fill our heads with these type of images.
Yes.
And as I said, when they're in the imagination, they never go away.
Yeah.
Do we really want our heads filled with this type of thing? Is this and the whole business of the video games in general is that they're really addicting.
Yeah.
I know of cases where men come home from work and they disappear into their room and just play video games instead of interacting with their families. Yeah. So that's another.
So
we should
that
really
would be,
talk about that.
I mean, that would be a moral sin at some point when they stop becoming father to their family. I mean, that means interacting, talking to them and so forth. But
I think the most I've ever done personally. I mean, maybe it's easy for me because I'm not attracted to video games. When I go to the Apple store, a couple of weeks ago, I spent 2 minutes playing Temple Runner, which is about as mindless an activity you can imagine. It's terrific graphics, ha ha ha, funny music, funny sounds. But after 2 minutes, I mean, I was done. Yeah. Who wants to spend time doing that? I guess I'll close with this too, and maybe we could talk about this another time. But I was reading a book about seminary life, and the author was telling the seminarian the best way to manage your time. And what he says is you divide up your time into 3 things: what is necessary, what is useful, what is enjoyable. And necessary comes first, and then you move on to the useful, and then you move on to the enjoyable. And of course, recreation is definitely part of, as human beings, I mean, this enjoyable, the recreation part is very important.
And some of it is necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't have to play video games to have recreation. But you do need some. But recreation, I know that Saint Teresa of Avila, for example, some of the sisters didn't need that much recreation, but she said you must take it. But talking about she's reformed, not like we have nuns today, but this is half an hour after dinner or something like that. But you have to take it because you may not need it, but the other sisters need you to interact with them. So, but it's not. So that to that extent it is necessary. Some sort of recreation is necessary, but this is not necessary.
But the point being is that excessive use of video games, and I think there are studies done on this, it really kind of numbs you for any other activity. Yeah. We even see that with the internet, that they say you can't have a video more than 8 minutes or 7 minutes. You can't have an article more than 1,200 words, because people's attention span has been, I'll use the term, has been maimed by this. Yeah.
But they can't get out of it if they would start learning these bad habits.
So I remember Colleen Hammond talking about, she used a term that I liked a lot, limiting your screen time. Yeah. Limiting your screen time, and get out into the world and throw football with your son and play a game of solitaire and play a game of fish and play a game of pinochle and do real things. Yeah. But so much of this video games puts you into this virtual world where you're really not connecting except virtually by other people online playing games. Now, if you want to do that now and then, I wouldn't say not to, but necessary, useful, enjoyable. Keep it within the context of that you're not wasting time on this.
And keep it, obviously, moderation, yes.
So anyway, there's probably a lot more we could say about this, but we will close it here, and we will be back on the next program. Thank you.